Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting of the Finance Committee, and a particular welcome to anybody who's joining us on YouTube. This is the first time that we've used this service. To members of the public who are not familiar with what's happening now, this entire meeting, the video from it and the sound is now being broadcast on YouTube. So if you don't want your image or your voice to be seen on or recorded on YouTube, I would advise you to take the appropriate action on your systems now. So agenda item 1, apologies for absence. I don't think we have any, do we, Ian?
None.
Okay, agenda item 2, the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held on 25th of January 2021 for approval. Can I have somebody to propose that?
Yes, I'll propose that.
Okay, that's proposed by Eddie. Seconder, please.
Howard West.
Okay, thank you, Howard. All those in favour?
Aye.
Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? No, that's unanimous. Matters arising from the minutes. Does anybody have any matters arising from the minutes?
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Howard?
It's F210121, which was the democratic period. Councillor Jones requested it be added to the agenda for the next meeting in amenities, and it is to do with Clare Mountjoy and planting of trees, etc. at Road Green, but it's not on the amenities agenda.
No, but it was on the agenda for the full meeting that we held earlier this month, Howard, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so I think
Okay,
that
right.
that action has been discharged. Anybody else got any points they want to raise from the last minutes? In which case I have just one, and that's F210119. Sorry, F20 1214, the P3 bid. Councillor Pady confirmed that he was arranging to get 3 quotes for the work on Lunsford Lane. I believe we've now had those 3 quotes. Is that correct, Ian?
We've had 2 of the quotes. One person has decided they do not want to tender.
All right, so are we in a position to discuss that this evening or not?
We can discuss it if we choose to. We can wait till next meeting. There's no actual hurry because the P3 bid's been put in place. We've bidded now, so
right.
There's no time restraint on when we decide whose quote we accept.
Right. In which case, with everybody's agreement, I would propose that we basically schedule that for discussion at the next meeting, which will be the meeting of the full council at the beginning of March.
Yep, I would agree with that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Colin.
Yes.
Right, excellent. So we'll take those. Agenda item 3 is now completed. Declarations of interest. Does anybody have any interest they wish to declare at the meeting? No. So agenda item 5, democratic period. This is an opportunity for the public to ask questions or make comments. Does anybody from the public wish to say anything? No, that's nothing from the public. Agenda item 6, the balanced accounts for the period the 1st to the 31st of January. Has everybody seen those? I assume you have. Anybody have any issues with those balanced accounts?
No.
Nope. Okay, then Ian will take those as correct. And then accounts to be presented for payment at this meeting. You've all got that list in front of you. Does anybody have any comments they wish to make or questions on that list? No, in which case, can I have a proposer that we accept those for payment?
Howard West, right?
Okay, thank you, Howard. Seconder, please.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman. I'll second. Colin.
Colin, thank you. Seconded by Colin. All those in favour?
Yep.
Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? No, passed unanimously.
Joy,
Agenda item 6. Sorry?
Joy, are you authorising the? Because you didn't put your hand up. Sorry, just trying to find out.
Yes, I was agreeing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Agenda item 6A, HRMAC now owe the parish £106.27 in February. And it's just a note, and we'll be taking recovery action for that at the appropriate time. Agenda item 6B, just for everybody to note that we've received notification that the balance of interest on the Cambridge Building Society account amounts to £60.04, and the balance in that account is now £15,643.65. Agenda item 6C, confirmation that the internal audit and check on the parish clerk have both been completed by Councillor West. So I'd like to just give my thanks to Howard for that. He stepped in at, as you know, at relatively short notice. So thanks you indeed for doing that, Howard.
It's okay, absolutely perfect. I checked everything thoroughly.
Brilliant. Thank you, Howard. Agenda item 6D. Just to note, we've received a quotation of £70 to complete the electrical work that was highlighted when we had the inspection of the electrical system at the Rosemary Lane workshop. Are you seeking our approval to spend that, Ian?
Yeah, please.
I have no difficulty with this. I think in terms of normal expenditure, that's fine. Steve, you've got your hand up.
I'm just going to say I'll propose that we carry on with that work.
Okay, thank you. Proposed by
That
Steve. Can I have a seconder for that then, please?
I'll second it.
that.
Sorry, who was seconding it? Sorry, was that Paul?
Ken.
Oh, Ken. All right. Okay, so seconded by Ken. All those in favour?
Yes.
Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? Passed unanimously, Ian. Item 6E is a quotation from Cliff Marriott for garden works. You remember that we were keen to obtain some idea of what it would cost us to employ somebody to do some gardening works. I mean, initially at the Govers Meadow site, but the quotation we received from Mr. Marriott is far more comprehensive than that. I would not propose to go through the full detail of it. I'm not, Ian, is this something we should just note at this stage? And then at the appropriate time, just seek approval to employ or to take Mr. Marriott up on this quotation on a case-by-case basis? Steve, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, if we're going to accept a quote, then we need to get on with it, because this is a guy that's obviously does other jobs. It's the time of year when gardening is going to become a priority. And if we say no now and he's full up, we've lost him.
Exactly.
The visit,
Yeah,
the first visit is planned for the end of February, the start of March.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
the only theory I've got is we did have down by what I call Greenbridge, which is Bluebridge, the gardens down there were being done voluntarily, weren't they?
Indeed, as are the gateways to Colliford, and currently done voluntarily, and there are other interests being shown about taking on responsibility for other gardens in Colleton. So beyond what's been proposed at Road Green, interest is being shown at doing something different in St Andrew's Garden, for example. So if we were to accept his quotation for all of the work that he's proposing, we would deny ourselves the opportunity, A, to save some money, but also B, to engage with the community on a sort of a broader footprint. So,
Mr. Chairman, can I speak, please?
Yes, please, Colin.
Yeah, yes, we're about to appoint a new handyman, and you know, in the past there were duties involving gardening, but we have made up our minds, I presume, that his duties will not include gardening. And we have discussed this at length about finding volunteers, and we've had quite a lot of problems getting volunteers. And that's why some of the gardens are in a state. And I think we've got to bite the bullet and employ somebody like this, Mr. Marriott, who will do a comprehensive job on our gardens. And I think for the time being, we've perhaps got to put the thoughts of volunteers behind us and go for this gentleman. That's my opinion.
I would agree with that, Colin. Yeah.
Howard, yes, please.
Well, I agree with both Colin and Ken. This quote is a bit like trying to do the Times crossword, but I worked it all out. I did say that I think for 2021 that we should get all of these areas tidied up because they are in rather a state. And the total cost is £645. That's for the 2 visits, one straight away and one later on in the year. And the total cost to do all of them for the whole year is £645.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please,
can I
Colin.
speak again? There's no reason why, as in the past, we can appeal for people to donate plants, because this is what's happened in the past quite successfully, to this gentleman to add to the gardens. We could continue to do that, to ask people if they have plants to donate for our public gardens.
Yeah, Colin, but again, I can't take the sort of discussion too much further without revealing the name of the individual. But there has been quite a lot of exchange on the Heart of Colleton about turning St Andrew's Garden, for example, into a sensory garden, which I think is quite exciting in terms of a new facility for the town, particularly in view of its the association with things like the Memory Cafe and so on. So no, yes, but I hear what everybody else says. Steve?
Yeah, in the budget, we have had for the last couple of years, I think, I can't remember how many hours or what else it was, for help for John. And I don't think in the last 2 years we've used that help. So there is money in the old budget that we could use towards this gentleman.
Yeah. That's if we haven't used it for something else, Steve.
Well, in this past 12 months, we've used very little, as you can see when you look at the accounts, because we have been unable to do any work.
Yeah.
Just coming in now, agreeing with what Steve has said. Howard and myself went around with Cliff, the gentleman. He knows what it all is. We were quite happy with him, and we ought to just take it on. We've asked for volunteers for the last couple of years, getting nowhere. We've now got a chap who's got his own customers, but he's quite willing to take the job on. And we ought to go ahead and do it. Otherwise, it's just going to go round and round.
Okay, Ken, thank you. Howard, you've got your hand up.
It's really taken up your point, Ray. I mean, he is quoted to clean up these areas because they're very overgrown. A lot of stuff needs cutting back, etc., etc. I mean, if you're worried about the long-term situation in St Andrew's Garden, I don't think this particular work affects that. If somebody then wants to change it and create something different, it still needs tidying up before he could even start.
Okay, Howard, thank you for that. Well, I think we've had a really good spectrum of views across the piece. Steve, have you got anything else finally you want to say?
Yes, I was going to propose that we accept this gentleman's quote and we get on with it.
That's exactly what I was
Thank you,
going to ask
Steve.
next.
I'll second that. That's
All right, seconded by Ken. Okay, all those in favour?
Yes.
Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? Nope, that's passed unanimously then. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Decision on cemetery charge for the late Mr. Wrighton, a former Colleton resident. You will have seen the clerk's email. From my perspective, I think I think residency has been demonstrated. So I would basically say that we should not impose the double fee on this.
Support
Steve?
that, Chairman.
Yeah, I just want, do we know how long they lived in Colleton and how long ago they moved out?
I understand it was about 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ian, that they moved out.
I don't know how when they moved out. I know they lived in Colleton for between 7 to 8 years.
And that Mrs. Wrighton has returned to Colleton, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So the widow, at least, has residency as well.
It's got a name, a family name that I recognise.
Right.
So I propose we accept that, Chairman.
Yeah. So I've got a proposal to accept that we do not impose the double fee. Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, seconded by Colin. All those in favour? Anybody against? Anybody abstaining? One abstention. Andrew?
Yeah.
Any other abstentions? Okay, you've got that, Ian?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Agenda item 7 then is cemetery fees, and this is to discuss whether we wish to raise the fees on the cemetery, which we normally schedule for this time of the year and implement in April. So does anybody want to have a kickstart this one off?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Crispin.
I sent you through the C of E fees, one of which I think was just a burial in the churchyard without a service or anything like that. So in a churchyard. How does that relate to what we charge?
Yeah, it was slightly tricky, Crispin, because the fees that you were talking about was actually included the conducting of the burial service itself as well. So it's quite difficult to compare like with like. I can tell you that if you want, the best like for like I can give you is that if you want to be have an unattended cremation at East Devon Crematorium, it will cost you £385. So for the nearest equivalent we've got to that, sorry, I tell a lie. An unattended cremation at the crematorium will cost you £550. The nearest equivalent we've got to that is what's called simple interment, and that's £385. So it's cheaper to be interned in our cemetery than it is to be cremated at East Devon.
Mr. Chairman, I would propose we do a 4% increase bar the child interment, because we normally leave that.
All right, so that would take up our sort of core interment to around £400 from 385.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that's we had a proposal then to increase all of the fees. Sorry, Stephen, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say I'll second it.
Okay, so seconded by Steve. So what we're doing is we're voting now on a proposal which has been seconded to increase all the fees with the exception of the items which we do not charge for by 4% across the piece. So all those in favour? Anybody against? Anybody wish to abstain? Okay, that's passed. So if you could take the action on that, Ian, could you just circulate to everybody what the new charges will be? And then I suggest you announce them as you would normally do.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Could we give Ian the chance to round up to the nearest pound rather than having pence?
Yes, quite.
Yeah, I think that's a very sensible thing, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I think can you just show some proper officer decision making there, Ian, just to make it sensible for you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do we at this point discuss the buying of a burial plot?
But that I think is included across the piece, isn't it? I think we just voted to increase all of the fees,
Okay.
including that of buying a
That
burial plot.
includes the purchase of a burial plot.
But that's my well, that was my assumption, Colin, for sure.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
Can we be reminded of that figure?
The
purchase of a
for
burial
the
plot?
exclusive rights of a burial, that's currently £650.
Okay.
And for a cremation plot in a cemetery, that's 212. So both of those will go up by 4%.
Okay.
Okay. So if anybody needs to adjust their terminal arrangements, you know what figure to work to now.
Right.
Okay. Agenda item 8, the social club rebuild assessment insurance. Ian?
Yeah, you've got the quote. I just want to know whether you would like me to go to the insurance company and change the value based on what we've been given by Martin Diclock.
Right. Can you just remind us what the quote from the insurance company was, in terms of uplifting it?
What cost they said it was going to be?
Yeah.
I actually don't have that figure.
Actually, Mr. Chairman,
I don't think we've asked the insurance company what the new premium will be, have we?
Not based on the new figure, no.
No, we've got the new. Right. So that's what we need to do next. Then, I think in terms of the valuation, it was very interesting that the independent valuation that we commissioned basically gave us a rebuild cost or a reinstatement cost that was amounted to 200,000 or thereabouts less than the loss adjusters view. And if you recall, we did at the time have the option to challenge that. My view is that although the insurance company has made us a settlement offer and we've accepted that settlement offer, I think it would still be it would still be worth it our while just going back to them and asking whether they would reconsider that offer and perhaps uplift it. What do people think?
well, I would agree with that, Mr. Chairman. I do think that they got away with that figure.
Yeah.
If we'd only known, we'd have challenged it straight away.
Yeah, and I think given the exigencies of COVID and everything else, I think actually, I did feel at the time that that we were being put under a bit of pressure to accept that that settlement offer. So my proposal is, firstly, that we go back to our original insurers and ask them to reassess based on the new valuation that we've received. And secondly, that we ask our new insurers to quote us for the new premium at the uplifted valuation provided by our own valuation. So that was what I would propose.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman. I think we should go back to the insurers and query this valuation.
Yeah. Okay. So it's seconded by Howard.
Sorry.
Yeah. All those in favour? Anybody against? Anybody want to abstain? No, that's passed unanimously. Ian, if you'd like to do that. If you need any help with the words, just email me.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to add when we send that off to the present insurers to say it was an independent valuation that we had done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very very interesting in terms of the quote that valuation when it was submitted. The assessor made it very clear and explicitly made it clear in the assessment that he was acting as an independent and under had no financial links or interests in other parish council business. But no, thanks, Ken. That's useful clarification from you. Okay, we then have agenda item 9, which is basically the revaluation of the other elements of parish council property. namely the cemetery rest house, the Peace Memorial Playing Field Pavilion, the Rosemary Lane store / workshop, and the library. If you recall, we were charged £300 to do the Colleton Memorial Social Club. So if we've got 4 properties to value, I'm guessing the maximum would be £1,200 if they charged us per property. So that's at one end of it. The first comment I would make is in terms of reinstatement. In the event of the total loss of the cemetery rest house, would we reinstate it? Andrew.
Well, no is the answer. I would agree with you. I would just like to add to that as well. With our store, I'm just wondering if we really need that revalued. I'd have thought the pavilion and the library are the 2 that we need valued.
Okay. That was where I was sort of heading. There's certainly, certainly in terms of the cemetery rest house, I don't believe that is worth revaluing at all, because I simply think we would not reinstate it. It's not a listed building, is it? Joy?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Joy, you want to say something?
I just wanted to say, was it a listed building?
Yeah. I don't know.
Ray, Mr. Chairman, I can check on that. I can't do it right now, but I will check on that tomorrow and come back to you.
Okay, that's fine. So let's park what we're going to do about the cemetery rest house for this meeting and bring that back at a future meeting. Andrew has suggested in terms of revaluation that the priority should be the playing field pavilion and the library. And I would tend to agree with him on that. So can I have a proposal that we go ahead on that basis? Howard.
Before you have the proposal, can I just check with Andrew? In the Rosemary Lane store, we have got quite a nice building on the left-hand side, haven't we? Which is where a lot of the carnival equipment, etc., is stored. If we're just thinking about the shed, yes, I agree, but that store is, to replace it would be quite significant, wouldn't it, Andrew?
Well,
let's ask Steve is the person really to ask. Steve, what do you reckon?
The shed in there is the carnival's responsibility. We own that.
Yeah, in terms of the contents, Steve, that's right. So if it was a total loss of contents, the Carnival Committee would bear the cost. But what about the building, replacing the building? Is that yours as well?
Well, I can't remember the deal, but I think this is a 50-50 deal, this place, isn't it? The whole yard. Is that right, Andrew?
Right. Although I think you're right. I can't be certain, but I think that's what we normally do. Yeah.
The person to ask, obviously, is Caroline.
Yeah.
Okay. Ian, in which case then, can I suggest that you communicate with Caroline Collier and ask if she's got any documentary evidence of an agreement between the committee and the parish council on how costs would be shared in terms of use and indeed insurance of that site.
Yeah, can do.
Yeah. Okay. So that's we've got action going ahead on the Rosemary Lane store then. So coming back then to my original proposal that we go ahead and seek a rebuild assessment for insurance purposes of the playing fields and the library.
I'll second
I have a seconder for that.
Chairman.
Sorry?
I will second that, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Howard.
Mr. Chairman, can we just, because Martin Diplock did this other one, are we going to use him again?
I
would include that in my second.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to go through another tender process. We chose Martin Diplock on best value for money basis, so I can't see how that will change given the what we're about to ask for.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be so that's my proposal to re-engage the services of Martin Diplock to do a valuation assessment of those two places. It's seconded by Howard. All those in favour? Anybody against? Anybody wish to abstain? No, thank you very much indeed. That's all passed. Agenda item 10, items received after the agenda was published. I don't have any. Ian, do you have any?
Mr. Chairman, sorry, just to jump in, sorry about this, but John Rowling's retirement, we haven't agreed on anything for him. We normally, when something like that retires, we normally give them something.
Yeah, I agree. When we did this on the parish for the parish clerk, we all contributed as individuals, didn't we?
We did, but we just need to agree what we're going to do. So do you want to put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yeah, I think so. Can we have it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yeah. Would you like it on finance or just anywhere?
Well, on finance, please, because we really need to do it in committee if we can.
Right.
No problem.
It's a bit sensitive, isn't it?
It is a bit. I'd just like to remind the chairman that he also has a discretionary element of the budget that he could use for similar purposes if he wanted to do something on behalf of all the council as well.
Well, I think possibly we'll take everybody's opinion on that first.
Understood. Okay, right. So it's on the agenda for the next meeting. Anything else? Anybody want to raise now?
Yeah, Ray. Just on the playing fields, insurance, and what have you. I think there was a query because we didn't know if we had been insured, and then it was found a paper, I believe, but that would be by the insurance company. Was it the Sussex? Somebody, another had found it and said it was covered under all risks. Well,
I find that.
Sorry.
Right. That's a tractor shed,
yes,
isn't it?
That's right. And I'm a little bit concerned about that because I would like us to have a photocopy of that, so just for my peace of mind, and well, I should think all of us, to make sure it is properly covered. All risks, you don't generally cover a building like that for all risks. It just seems quite strange. Okay. And
I would agree. Ian, do you want to make a comment on that?
Sorry. Yeah, so the reason that it's all risk is because when it was first entered into asset register, whenever it was built, it wasn't entered as a building on the asset register, it was entered as part of the playground. So that's why it's part of all risk. It's been moved, so the asset register has been moved to buildings for this year. So next meeting, the asset register needs to be approved to be put onto the website. And at that point, it will be buildings. And then at that point, when the next insurance comes round, it will be on the asset register as a building.
Yeah, because the contents of that shed is quite horrendous.
Yeah, exactly.
But the contents is covered by the committee.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know the main building contents are, but I don't know about the tractor shed.
Yeah,
okay, that's fine.
So we've checked with the playing committee, and Roy Turner said that, has talked to Sasha over the phone and said that the content is covered.
Good.
That's good.
Good.
Yeah. Can I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, when we come round to reviewing the asset register and tidying up that piece of insurance cover, that would be the right time to make it very clear and to revisit the agreement that we have with the Playing Fields Committee as to what their responsibilities are in relation to their own obligation to us for the safety of that building, i.e., that they don't store petrol, for example, in it.
Well, you've got to store diesel down there because you've got diesel tractors down there.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, those sorts of things all need to be discussed with the insurance company to understand who's going to be covering what and whether our insurance of the building accepts the storage of those sorts of things as being within the scope of the policy. It's not for something to discuss now, but I just want to put it out there that we ought to be discussing that finer detail when we get to it.
I still think that we need something from Roy Turner, if they've got the papers, proof. I don't like it being left to when it all comes up in a month's time. It could catch a light in the next month.
Yeah,
and it's
certainly
not
good.
covered. I think we ought to have something ourselves. Perhaps Ian, if you could drop him a line or a phone call. I mean, he's a reasonable chap, but we would like something so we've got proof that it is properly covered.
So you want just that proof that they've got contents insurance
For the tractor shed.
Because we've had the written confirmation from the insurance company, haven't we, Ian, as I understand it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that element of it is, okay, but we should, as you say, have a copy of the insurance policy for sure.
Can I just say, Chairman, in response to Councillor Reel, normally there is a limit on the volume of diesel that you're allowed to keep in a
That's
premises.
correct. A 50-gallon drum, that is what you're allowed.
Yeah.
Right.
I could never carry more than 10 litres.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just to say that the dates of the next meeting for the CPC full meeting, Monday, the 8th of March, Finance and Planning, Monday, the 22nd of March. And that completes Finance Committee for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. So we'll go on to planning then. Crispin.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to a potential 7 billion viewers to this meeting. First item, the first item is whatever the opposite of offering your apologies is, I am on the committee, but I'm not listed. So just a note there. Item one. Item one, to receive and approve apologies. Anybody, have we got any information? Anybody apologising? No. Okay. 2, declarations of interest. Thank you. 3, approval of the minutes of the meeting held 25th of January. Does anybody have any comments on those?
Appendix W, Chairman.
Sorry, Eddie, say that again.
Say Appendix W.
Okay. Oh, you mean they're down as Appendix X instead of Appendix W? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yes.
Right. So it should read Appendix X on the agenda. Okay. Thank you. Can I accept those as a true record? Can I have a proposer, please?
I'll propose, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you, Howard.
I'll second
A second,
that.
please. Thank you, Eddie. Democratic period. Members of the public. Oh, sorry, matters arising. Any matters arising?
No.
No, thank you. Item 5, democratic period. Members of the public. I can only see 3 on my screen. So Keith, Alison or Ian? No, good. Item 6, planning applications to be considered. So you've seen my little spiel I sent out. So item 1 is
Sorry, Chairman, can I just interrupt a second? According to my screen here, both Keith, Alison and Ian seem to be muted.
Yes.
So they
can
wouldn't
hear
be able
us.
to answer you, would they?
Well,
They can unmute themselves.
They can unmute.
Yes.
themselves.
They
But
are
if they can't hear the question,
Yeah,
well, they can. No,
They
they're
can
mute.
hear.
They can't speak to us, but we can. They can hear us.
okay.
So Keith, you've just unmuted. Do you want to say something? No. Okay. Item 1 on the planning applications to be considered. So items 1 and 2 relate to the same place. It's 21 Old Manor Gardens in Collie Ford. Item 1 is the removal of a horse chestnut. I'm looking at the plan now, and the horse chestnut is sitting T2. Yes, it's sitting just behind the enormous the magnificent horse chestnut, which is very visible in Old Manor Gardens. And T1, that's the second application, is the removal of a beech. The beech won't be replaced, at least not according to the what's been put forward, but the horse chestnut will be replaced with something a bit further from the boundary. Now, it says on the application, the report was prepared by George Taylor of GT Tree Services under the instruction of Sid Valley Trees, and the works prescribed in the report he produced, both trees have been recommended by the head tree officer, I imagine that's David Coleman, of East Devon District Council. Well, if the head tree officer has said this is a reasonable suggestion, do we have any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Ray.
You might recall that actually this lady submitted previously a planning application for the same works. That was refused. She took issue with the planning department. They accepted that they hadn't actually investigated properly. I believe this to be the result of that follow-on investigation where they got the right people involved, and therefore I would propose that we accept this.
Thank you, Ray.
I'll second it.
Thank you, John. Anybody, all those in favour?
Yes.
Okay,
Most
thank you.
definitely.
Anybody against? Anybody abstaining?
Yeah, I'll abstain. Yeah.
So that's Ken and Joy, you're abstaining? Okay. All right. So item 3, it's not on the agenda, but it was issued by Ian. And this is one that's coming pretty late. And the reason it's appearing now is because if we don't do it now, we'll run out of time. And this is Foxworthy, Kingston, in Collerton. So it's a large, I suppose it's a new house, I think. If you're looking at the Collerton tram station to the left, slightly up the hill. So if I get this right, and I didn't attend the meeting, which came in before I was a councillor, it was an application for a new timber double garage, and the movement of the boundary into the adjacent field. So part of the field becomes a domestic garden. That was the garage has been built, and then it sounds like somebody may have complained. Enforcement went around and said you put the boundary in the wrong place, and so this application is to rectify where the boundary location is.
Yeah,
that's about it. I think that's right. Howard, you went round the first time. Have I got that right?
You got it spot on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
but
they own the land.
I think Eddie has got involved in a problem there, because those of you councillors who came on the last visit, there was a problem with the stream or leat that ran down beside the road, which is actually on their property. And we did recommend that a grid was put up to catch any materials and that sort of thing. Eddie can say more than me, but somebody has been on to Eddie, and they're concerned about this leak now.
Eddie?
Yes, well, apparently it appears from what I've been told that there is a continual stream of water that is running down that road with nowhere else to go but the back of the tramway. And obviously you've got that industrial unit down there, which I believe is suffering some issues. But a number of the neighbours obviously have written in, well, I thought they had, with their objections because of the amount of heavy traffic that is being used up and down that road, which appears to be blocking the culverts and the drains. But I'd say that was a recent conversation, so I don't know any more details than that. But it does sound as though it's something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
It's coming all the way down from the top that Colin will know well about.
Yes.
Caroline Collier's son owns the farm.
Mr. Chairman, that's right. That road goes out to Nunsford Lane. Sorry. Yes.
Let's put Eddie right. Caroline's son does not own that farm. East Devon District Council or Devon County.
Devon County.
One of those. He is a tenant, not an owner.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Sorry, Colin. Could you just say what you said again?
Yes, that road runs down to Nunsford Farm, which is a county council holding, and I would imagine that the drainage is a responsibility of the county highways, because it's an open ditch in certain places, and obviously the water's not being captured by that ditch, and I think the highways ought to be involved in this. And if the owners are discharging water onto the highway, then it's up for the highways to, deal with them. So I propose that we contact the highways over this.
If I could just add to that, Chairman.
Yes, Eddie.
Just to Councillor Reel, that was the information that I was given. Whether it's correct or not, I didn't verify it. As far as the water that runs down there is concerned, it's coming from the two fields, I'm told. As I said, I haven't been up there apart from the original visit when we went up there for the planning application. So,
well, this planning application is really to do with the movement of the boundary on the far side away from the road. That's the bit of land which is in dispute. So from that point of view, does anybody have any objections to us not supporting what the application is asking for? No? Okay. So what we can do is we can support the application and ask for investigations to be carried out or bring to the attention of Devon County, brought to the attention of Devon County, that there is a drainage issue with the roadside of this property. Would that be a reasonable thing to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I, so with Foxworthy, the current proposal, I mean, the garage is being built, so we can't, because it was done under the previous application. So can I have a proposer for that we accept this one? Thank you, Howard. A seconder?
Yeah, I'll second.
Thank you, John. All those in favour? Anybody against? Anybody abstaining?
I'll abstain, please.
Ray's abstaining.
And me.
Okay. And Eddie, Ian.
Yep.
I'll draft out a reply to these 3 applications, Ian, and send it to you tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, item B, item 6B is planning decisions from EDDC.
None.
None. Okay. Item C, planning correspondence.
None.
Nothing. Okay, thank you. Item 7 is the East Devon new local plan response. So I sent round an email, which you would have seen from Ian as well. And essentially the new local plan, the East Devon local plan, is being prepared at some time in the future for the next 15 odd years, something like that. Yeah. And they are asking for our initial input, which can be done as an individual or can be done as the council. There's a lot to think about in it, I suppose, if you want to take it seriously. Do we have, I don't know, do we have a special meeting? Do we want to respond? What's happened in the past? Have we done, those people on the council, have we done a formal response to an East Devon local plan inquiry?
We're usually given a deadline, Mr. Chairman. Have we got a deadline of March the 15th?
Yeah, there is. No, you're right. Actually, it is. It's March the 12th. It's quite soon.
Quite close.
Mr. Chairman, we
Yes.
would normally do an outline. So we normally insist on the green wedges being in, and that is about all we've asked for in the past, because it's very much an East Devon thing rather than a Collerton specific one.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. So
the other thing, Mr. Chairman, is we usually mention that we have a ruling with the council, no development over the 200-foot contour.
That is correct.
True.
That is correct, Colin. Yes.
We must have answered the last one when it was down at Sidmouth. So is there any chance we could look at our comments then and then get them emailed to us so we could have a look?
I don't know what the situation is on that, Steve. Ian, you must have kept a record if we made comments, or the parish clerk has.
I would imagine there would be some kind of record of comments. I can go look for them tomorrow.
Okay, if you could do that and then email those to me, and then I'll send them. I'll review them and send them round if that's acceptable, and we'll make a response, taking in what's just been said by the due date. I think this is really a discussion report is what they're talking about to start with before, and they'll need all the neighbourhood plans, of course, etc. So I think that's all on item 7. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, if that's the proposed course of action, can I suggest that actually you bring that draft response to the meeting on the 8th of March, which is ahead of the deadline,
just
for
ahead,
for the council to formally approve before it goes in.
Yeah, sure. I will.
Because by then we will have had our meeting about our own neighbourhood plan. If anything comes out of that, which we want to feed forward into the EDDC plan, that would be the right time to do it, I suggest.
Thank you. Good point. Yeah, thank you, Ray.
Chair, can I come in briefly as well?
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. I'll be very quiet. Just to say that, of course, this stage of the local plan is about policy. So it's about general things. So, what do you want? Environmental builds? Do you want, disability access? What do you want things to be made from? There'll be a further stage, which is the specifics, which might be the thing to address. So, for example, Colin's point about 200 metres probably won't be accepted at this stage because it's not answering the exam questions, so to speak. So that's maybe the next one. I think Andrew's point is very good about the green wedges. Again, I suspect that comes in the next stage, if that's helpful. So maybe just have another look at it online and see what the questions are. And if they're not ones for us now, then maybe we can, stay silent on it now and then wade in later. Just a thought.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paul. Has anybody else got anything to say on that one? Okay. Item 8 is the neighbourhood plan meeting, which is going to be happening next Monday on the 1st of March by Zoom. And I think I'm right in saying it'll be members of the council, members of the steering group. I know some crossover, and also, and it will be I'm asking this question, it will be a meeting open to the public to attend. Andrew, would that be correct?
No, it's not correct.
Thank you.
It is the parish council meeting with the steering group, but the public have already commented. So this is the parish council's comments that we're discussing.
Right. So it is a closed meeting in that respect.
But with the steering group.
With the steering group, with the steering group. Yes. Okay. So my understand what Howard has been very he's been very checking all the documentation we've had on the new neighbourhood plan, and he has produced a what would you call it, a report, a summary of what we need to talk about. And before I just move on to Howard, what I would propose is that most of the things, I think I'm right in saying, Howard, most of the things we agree with, or you've agreed with, but there are certain items which you would like to raise. This doesn't stop anybody raising anything which Howard thinks is okay, but if we go through absolutely every item by item, we'll be here forever. So my proposal is that we start with Howard's comments, go through what they are saying, decide whether they're right, to be supported, to be amended, whatever, and then hopefully by the end of that, we've got a good, slightly revised response to the neighbourhood plan. Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would say that most of the contentious issues that went on prior to the consultation stage have all now been cleared in the consultation document and the current neighbourhood plan as it currently stands. But you've all received your printed copies today, and there is one brown copy, which is called the Regulation 14 Consultation Copy, comments received by section and policy. And what I'd like to do, if you're all happy, is to go through that with you all. And I would say that 70–80% of these comments, we will just say they're okay, everything's sorted. And I will bring a few things to your notice. You discuss what you want to do with it. And I think from the clerk's point of view, I think all that the clerk needs to do on that night is to record any decisions that we make on changing the plan or not changing the plan, or else for him to take minutes of the whole meeting, it would be much too complex.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Does anybody have any other comments on this? The number of plans the number of the documents which were printed off today was just enough for the council. I don't know what the situation is on the steering group.
They've all got a copy as well.
Sorry, say that again, Ian.
They've all got a copy too.
Oh, they have. Oh, good.
Yeah, we delivered to all of them. One of the steering group didn't want a copy. I'm assuming he had his own copy, but yeah,
Right.
everyone else got delivered today.
Okay.
I delivered all the ones in Colliford, and I think Ian and Sasha delivered all the ones in Colleton.
Well, I've got mine. They're just in quarantine at the moment. I'll be looking at them tomorrow.
Can I just
Okay.
thank Ian and Sasha for doing that for us?
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve beat me to that, Chair. So can I add Howard in there? I didn't know Howard was
Howard.
Colliford postman, but thanks all
Colliford
three of you.
postman, yeah.
That's an absolutely invaluable set of documents to have dropped through the door. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very good. Printed and delivered. Marvellous.
Right. Can I just,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask whether has our consultant changed his mind as really his attendance? Do we know?
No.
No.
Not to my knowledge. Ian, you're probably the best person.
No.
No?
No.
No. Okay.
So
So,
do we know why he's?
Very disappointing.
Yeah. Do we know why he's not? Why he's not attending as requested?
He feels that he's done all the work that needs to be done, and that he feels there's no real further discussion to be done, that the SG have done their work, and that it just needs to be sent off now to EDBC and LPA.
Yeah, but but Ian, he's our contractor, and I'd like him there for his advice more than anything else.
Can't make him.
No, you can't make him.
understand
Can't
that.
make him attend.
No.
That-
Well, I
that
know
is
he
the
can't make it,
difficulty.
but I mean, has that been made clear to him? I wonder.
Yeah, I spoke before we decided on when the meeting was going to happen. I had spoken to him, and he'd already said he wasn't going to attend. He's pretty
Right.
adamant. He's been spoken to, I think, Andrew, I've CC'd you in. I think I've spoken to him about 3 times about it on different occasions over the last month and a half, and he's pretty
Right.
adamant he is not attending.
In which case, then, in order to safeguard ourselves as a council, could we just have it formally minuted that the contractor has declined our invitation to attend?
Hmm. Hmm.
I think
I mean-
the public would expect us to to call on the most professional advice we can, and the fact that our contractor is not attending, I think, just needs to be clear in the public's mind.
Okay. It is disappointing because if an item comes up which just needs a bit of clarification,
Absolutely.
and we haven't got an answer, which we could have an answer and solve an awful lot of discussion, maybe. I
Yeah.
agree. Hmm. Okay.
Chair, can I ask? Are we so presumably the consultant has completed their work, and that's it. No more fees attached. That's it now, is it?
As far as I'm aware, there are no more fees due to him. Whatever. Are there any?
No.
I don't know what the situation.
No.
on actually fee paying.
He told us that
Just
there
as-
was 2 invoices, and that the invoice that we've accepted was the second and last invoice.
Right.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So has that been paid, Ian?
Yeah, it was authorised. I think it might have been authorised in the last finance meeting.
Right. So the answer is, Paul. Yes, it's been paid. Yes, Howard.
I was just going to say, yes, he's been fully paid up for all the work he's done. We do not now owe him anything unless we ask him to do some more work.
Yes, unless we change things slightly. Yes.
So
Okay.
check.
Sanitary lesson for you all in dealing with contractors then.
Yes.
Until then, do not pay the piper or the
I mean-
ferryman, rather.
Yes,
this-
yes,
yeah.
Paul.
Oh well. Okay. So what's done is done. So there's no point being unpleasant about it. I'd just say at East Devon, if we paid any consultant and asked them to turn up for a meeting, and they did,
They would be there.
well, they certainly wouldn't work for East Devon again.
Yeah.
I just think it's really unfortunate and it's discourteous in the extreme, and I don't understand it. But there's nothing we can do. It's everybody's tent. So it's a great pity that the relationship. I don't think we can say the relationship has broken down between the parish council.
No, we're still talking.
because well, there has never been a physical relationship between us and the gentleman anyway. So there we go. It is what it is. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Unless there's anything else to say on neighbourhood plan, we'll go on to item 9, which is items brought to the chair's attention after the agenda was published. So I've got items which will come up under amenities. Has anybody got anything they wish to say? Oh, yes. Wayne Homes, as you know, have been appointed to undertake the construction part of the Ceramtech site. And they have asked, and Alison sent round an email today to the liaison group, that they have asked if they could meet us via Zoom. And I was going to suggest that they could do this at the beginning of the next meeting. They didn't give a date, but they're keen to know who we are. Would that be acceptable? It's a gentleman called Lawrence Munslow. I don't know whether Sam will be there. Basically, they're just going to say, hello, we're Wayne Homes, I think. There's nothing else to say yet. There's an update on the site is, I spoke to Sam, and there'll be an article appearing in the next newsletter. And, well, there won't be any work on that site in the way of formal construction for probably about a year, whilst they clear all the outstanding conditions of the, make the reserve matters applications and clear all the outstanding conditions. So it'll be some time before we see things happening on the site, and the demolitions, as you know, are now complete. Mr. Chairman, I suppose this is going to be a formal meeting a formal full council meeting. Andrew, would that be okay to ask him to introduce themselves?
Only with a time limit, because our meetings are already too long as they are.
Yeah.
So you would have to have a time that the 10 minutes absolutely outside.
I'll go for less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. Can I suggest, in order to ease that particular constraint, that we delay it until the finance and planning committee meeting?
We can do. They just seem keen to want to talk to us right now, which I thought was good. But we can do it in a month's time. Sorry,
Mr. Chairman, I would rather go with Ray, because then we could give them more time. It's a little bit impolite to rush people at the first occasion. It'd be better if we did have more time.
Yeah, sure. So if I say we could meet you on the 22nd, I'm sure that'll be okay, and they'll have the first part of the meeting, or the planning meeting, if we do that one first on that agenda, series of agendas. And they'll just say hello, I think.
Yeah. Okay. But Chris, we can make it a little bit more, interactive than that. If we do with them what we did with Homes England, and that's actually just, prepare a few questions, that councillors may have for them.
Sure. Yes. If people want to send their questions through to Ian or on to me with Ian copied in, I'll be happy to assemble those. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes, Eddie.
Just one thing, Chairman. Is there any update on the so-called damage which has occurred during the demolition process?
I've not heard anything. I haven't spoken to Liz Berry. Alison, can I call Alison in? Alison, could you just unmute yourself if you're there?
It's pretty ghastly, actually. Liz Berry is going gung-ho now. There has been some considerable damage to Quince, which I've seen photographs of, and to Liz's house. Paul, I've forgotten his name, Paul Arnott, who's the Paul from the building control, your friend from building control at EDC. Paul, somebody.
I don't think he's my friend from building control, particularly Alison. I'm not sure.
It's not Paul. It's not Paul.
I can write it up and send it round.
Phil?
He
Was
came
it
round.
Phil?
And Edie. Anyway, they came round and looked round people's houses, but actually they weren't coming to offer advice, which is what Liz Berry thought. They were coming to check that there was no external damage, that they were going to have to say to the homeowners, you've got to get that fixed because it poses a danger to the general public.
Oh, really?
It was, it upset a few people. Yeah.
So, Alison, am I right in saying that, Liz and maybe others are proceeding under a private line?
Yes.
Against the demolition contractors?
Small claims court, Liz is going. Yeah.
This is sad. This is so sad.
Mr. Chairman, Andrew, do we need to get involved? Should we get it? I suppose the answer is, should we be being involved?
Well, no, because it's unfortunately it's not our site. I mean, if we were asked to support the individuals, I'm sure we would do, but it's not. We're not a contractual party, so we haven't really got any sort of locus standi, as they say. So I think we just have to wait until we are approached by, say, Liz Berry or somebody. But it's going to only be moral support. We haven't got much else in the armoury.
Yes, Eddie.
Yeah, can I just ask that we continue to have it monitored?
Yeah, sure. We'll monitor the situation. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, one thing
yes, Howard.
before you sign off, I forgot to say something on the neighbourhood plan. Could we agree that we ask the clerk to put in the minutes to thank Charles Hill for his efforts on printing all
very
short notice, and for our finance chairman's information, the total cost for well over 200 pages is £60.
Fine.
Absolute bargain.
Yeah,
very good. Okay.
Put it down to stationery, please, Ian.
Pity we didn't have it a month ago.
All right. Thank you very much. So now that the date of the next meetings is the full meeting on the 8th of March, finance and planning on the 22nd. And I think that's all to do with planning. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Crispin. So we'll move on straight away to amenities. Colin.
Okay. Right, try and make this as quick as can to finish by before 9. Right, to receive and accept apologies for absence. Is there anybody, Ian, that's sent in apologies?
No.
No apologies. The minutes of the amenities.
Chair, can I just come in very quickly? I just felt Councillor Parr wanted to tell you that it's only just gone 8 o'clock. So you mentioned 9 o'clock just then. So I don't know if you're thinking about nearly an hour, but
no, I'm saying I hope to be finished well within the hour. Yes.
I was saying 8:30.
Right. Okay, 8:30 then. That's the target. Okay, we'll gallop on. Minutes of the amenities meeting held on Monday, the 26th of October, 2020, which was published in Appendix R, were approved in the amenities section of the full meeting on Monday, the 9th of November. So they've been approved. Matters arising from these minutes. Is there anything that anyone wanted to bring up from those minutes? Anyone got a good memory? No, if there's nothing, then we'll push on to declarations of interest.
I've got Colin.
John.
It's on the water supply to the allotments. I'm very friendly with the landowner who you hope to run the pipelines through.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to abstain on voting on this one.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, John. Anybody else with a declaration of interest?
Oh, okay. Colin, Mr. Chairman, under probably item 11, items brought to the chair's attention.
Yes.
To do with the library. I don't really. Yeah, maybe I should have brought it up earlier. To do with the library and having a Zoom meeting. I should say the person who wrote that email, which you've seen and commented on, is my partner.
Right. Okay.
I don't know whether that's a declaration of interest. I'd like to think it is.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. And you're going to mention this in item 11, are you?
I will, if it comes up. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. Democratic period, opportunity for the public, questions and comments. Total time was 15 minutes. Anybody from the public would like to use this opportunity under the democratic period? No? That's nobody by the sound of it. Right, we'll move straight on to water supply at the allotments. And as you know, we're looking at alternative methods of supplying water to the allotments. At the present, we've got Graham Pady bringing it up by tanker, and we don't know how long that will last. We're looking at various options, and the one I want to just talk about tonight, and hopefully you will have had a letter from me about this, is the provision of water by gravity from water collected from the springs in Lisham's Drain. And what I wanted just to talk to you about this evening is to find out from you, A, if you are willing for this to be researched anymore, or whether we've got to knock it in the head at this point and not discuss it anymore. What are people's opinions, first of all, of that option? The other option, of course, is bringing in mains water, which I think Crispin has been researching a bit, a pipe supply from the mains. So before we discuss it anymore, it would be good to hear people's opinions of the proposal to bring it down from a height of about 40 feet above the allotments by gravity in pipes.
Well, Mr. Chairman, so
yes.
Essentially we'll be getting free non-potable water, which is ideal for allotments, as opposed to if we come in from Southwest Water, it's going to be drinkable supply.
Yeah.
And we would also solve, hopefully, the damage to the road. Am I right in saying that?
Well, that's the whole idea, is to kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
And the highways people, as you've seen in my letter, are happy with our proposal, but they need assurance that there is permission from the landowner for us to build a collection tank and then take a pipe across the land belonging to Mount Hill Farm. We've got to a certain stage where they're about to do the work to drain these springs and to capture the water. But, the rest is perhaps about a 300-meter length of pipe down to the allotments. So how do people feel about the scheme in general? Yes, Steve, yes.
I'm fine with this, but we do need absolute costs. No good figure in the sky saying it's £1,000. We need cost down to the last penny, really.
Okay. Okay. Well, as I've indicated, Bernie Rendell has produced a figure of £450 to build the tank. Then we've got to have labour to dig sort of a foot-deep trench for the pipe up over the bank and around the edge of the field and down to the allotments. I've been speaking to Lionel Board, and he says he thinks he could find some volunteers to either dig in a pipe from the mains or dig in this pipe from the spring. Hopefully that wouldn't cost us. It would be from volunteers from the allotments. But at the moment,
Colin, it's Lionel Bond, not.
Sorry, sorry, Lionel Bond. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Yeah, got the wrong name. Yeah. So I mean, we can approach it from the costs angle pretty exactly, perhaps including some volunteer labour. Yeah, Ray. Yes.
Colin, you've not mentioned any at all any legal costs associated with this. I assume if we're putting a piece of council-funded infrastructure across private land, we would have to have a formal legal agreement, a way-leave arrangement in place, all right, in order to secure that investment or the enduring investment that would represent for us.
Yeah, yes, you're right. And in my letter, which is almost historical now, it goes back some time. I don't know if you've got a copy of it still. I mentioned the fact that the highways would need to see proof of permission to have a tank and pipe. And I know that I have approached Mrs. Sydenham, and she hasn't rejected the idea, but I got the impression that she was a little bit worried about the implications. So what I have proposed in my letter, answering your question, is that the parish council enter into a license agreement with her to build the tank and to have the pipe in her land, at which we renew this every year for a fee, in order to give her what shall I say? the thought that it is completely maintained by the parish council and will be no problem to herself.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm more, Colin. I'm more
Can I just say
concerned about the
something?
fact that.
Wait a minute. Sorry, Ray, can you go first?
Yeah, I'm just more concerned the fact that actually, if that farm changes hands, if we don't have a proper way-leave arrangement in there,
yes.
All right, the new owner could take an entirely different view.
Well,
I think we need to actually have a really hard look at this to
yes.
make sure that whatever investment is going to be put in place actually is properly safeguarded.
Yes.
All right, for the future.
Yeah.
And that will involve us, I assume, covering the legal costs of the owner as well.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I think you're right, and I mean, this is usually worded to the landowner and their successors, and I think that would cover it. But you're right; it would entail some cost on the legal side. And then Eddie wanted a message.
Well, I have been trying, yes, Chairman. Can I ask? You're talking about a holding tank.
Yes.
Would the residual water from that need to be pumped anywhere?
No. The whole idea is to provide a pressure volume to push the water down the pipe. Okay, and it's 4 foot by 4 foot outside measurement.
Yes, I read the letter.
By 3 foot, a cubic yard of water inside, with a steel lid and a filter on the outlet pipe.
Right. Can I just say that I agree, obviously, with Councillor Reel.
Yes.
This does need to be costed out to completion.
Okay. Yep. Sure. It was just this evening to get an idea that we agree in principle with the whole scheme.
No.
And then to go forward. Howard, you've got.
I've got two questions.
Yes.
First of all, where does the water go when the tank is full?
Okay.
And number two, how do we control the water not going into the tank when it's full? That in the allotments, but we've now got to go back to the road because we don't need any more water out of Lisham's drain. Where does all that go?
Yes. Well, you're right. I mean, there's no water needed between October and March. So the idea being that we have an overflow pipe from the collecting tank positioned, we hope, very close to a gully. So it goes straight back in the gully of the road drainage. And then where the pipe takes a bend at the bottom of the field, we have a takeoff pipe with a stopcock. And that pipe will also lead into a gully on the roadside. And that could be left open to drain water there when the tanks are full or during the winter. So there is provision for overflows, which will run back into the roadside drainage.
Mr. Chairman, has Devon County accepted that?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
good.
They said that, that if we have excess water, the water can go back into their gully.
Okay.
And we're hoping to place the tank, very close to a gully.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Joy?
Yes. So the specification for the tank, who will be drawing up that specification for that tank?
Well, I've asked Bernie Rendell, who's got a lifetime of experience of that, and he suggested a 5-inch concrete plinth dug into the hillside, and he would be. Pardon?
What is his qualification in designing these tanks?
He's a long-time builder. He's probably.
I know, but this is a particular need and a particular use.
Yes, yeah. Well,
has he done that before?
He has. He's done tanks for me in the past. Septic tanks. He's built stuff underground and rendered them, and I've got complete confidence in his ability.
It seems a very low quote, £400 for that size tank.
Yeah, well,
building cost wise, let alone the labour.
Yeah,
I would have thought the materials for that size tank's going to cost that much with a steel lid and a filter.
Well, he's estimated 55 6-inch blocks, a concrete base, and the lid, and and that was his price, you know. But again, we could get more exact details. I just wanted it as an indication to you of what the price would be at this stage.
Colin, can I speak on this, please?
Yes, John.
Several times, and I am able to get in. I'm sorry. The way you've drawn it out, this system isn't going to work. And why is it going to work? Is that, all right, I follow your reasoning for your tank. I follow your reasoning for putting the pipe in. But to get that water up into the allotments, you will have to bring the supply pipe from your tank right the way down to the concrete truck that goes in the allotment and take it up there then, because you can't get over that bank.
Yep.
Your bank too high, and you'll end up with airlock, so it won't work unless you.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Well, thank you, John. I've been in touch with a company at Chepstow who are experts in tapping springs, their irrigation firm, and they've advised a 40mm pipe, a black irrigation pipe, which will reduce the amount of airlocks. And he said, I would definitely think that this would work with a bigger diameter pipe, with a 32mm internal diameter. And he's
right, Colin.
Okay.
From where you got your tank positioned, and I take it's somewhere where the cross drain comes across from the left to the right hand side, in that area there, you've got a big bank that goes up into the field, right?
Yes.
Therefore, to get that water, even though you might be lower down in the allotments, you've got to go a long way down before you can go up. Otherwise, the siphon will not work. It's as simple as that.
Okay, well, it will be trial and error, but this guy reckons we've got
error. We want something that's going to work.
We've got 40 feet of fall there, John, and it will be a case of a gently rising pipe, which will take the water up from the pressure in the collecting tank. But okay. Anybody else has got comments? My main question tonight was, sorry, Andrew.
Well, I just propose, I mean, there are several steps. I think you should go forward and ask the landowner before we do anything else, and then come back to us.
Okay.
And then we've had a chance to think about these other problems. But I think from tonight, we should really, I would propose you go ahead and speak to Mrs. Sydenham and see what she says. Because without her permission, it's a non-starter.
It won't work. No, you're right. Okay. Well, I mean, what I was asking you as a committee, would I have authority to negotiate on the terms I've set out, that we agree to issue a license as a way leave, and suggest a price, an annual fee that we pay, and we undertake all responsibility for the system and for its maintenance, so that she has no responsibility at all. That's what I'm asking the committee tonight, if you would like me to go to her with those terms.
Have the allotments committee formed a view of what they're prepared to pay by way of an increase to their annual charge?
Well, we haven't got to that stage yet. I mean, obviously, there will be costs for a main supply, and whether we do add on a pro rata fee for each plot for water.
I think that would be entirely fair.
Yeah, this is what we've got to decide. I mean, we've got Seaton and Axminster, who both supply their allotments with mains water, I believe. And I think their rents are comparable, to that service. So the first thing that Andrew has suggested tonight is that I go to the owner. I believe actually the land belongs to her son, so I might have to go to Mark Sydenham, but through Marion, and just discuss the permission to put this apparatus in her land. Howard, yes.
There are so many unknowns in this project,
yes,
Mr. Chairman. surely we would be safer to having a mains water supply.
Okay, that's one view.
I think
Yeah.
you're right.
To me, there are so many unknowns, and
Okay.
Ray's point about the ownership of the land where the pipe is, and you know, John's point about airlocks and all that. If we're not careful, we're going to spend a lot of money on something that doesn't work.
Okay.
And surely, if we ask and pay for a mains water supply, it's South West Water's problem.
Right.
Not
right.
ours.
I mean, the great thing we've got to think is that the allotments don't need water from October to March, so that we'll be paying standing charges, you know, every 3 months through the winter for no water. But yeah, your point, I take your point. Ray, yes.
Yeah, of course, the counter argument to what you've just said, of course, is the very time when the allotments need water. And I question very seriously the size of tank that you're proposing, therefore, is during the summer when water is not around.
Right.
Falling off hillsides or from springs.
Well, we know those springs are running the whole year round because we know, you know, they well up in the road, cause these potholes. And it would probably be 24-hour water coming down would be enough. Steve, yes.
Of course, if we go South West Waterway, we can always know what the charges are going to be because we can have a meter fitted, can't we?
Yeah, that's true.
And at the allotments, they have 2 very, very big water tanks.
Yeah, they do. They do. And they can be switched on and off. Okay, right. Well, now, Andrew has proposed that I go and approach the owner. Is there a seconder for that?
Yes, Colin.
Yes, right. Thank you. That's Crispin has seconded. Are there any amendments to that?
Well, I think Howard proposed that Howard or Ray proposed we go South West Water.
Howard proposed then we go for.
No, ask him. I think that was Howard. I'm not sure.
Is that what you're saying? How would you?
It wasn't actually a proposal, Steve.
Oh, right.
It was my opinion, but I will turn that into a proposal.
Okay. Yes.
We investigate the cost of supply from cost of installation and the eventual supply of water.
Okay.
Right, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Yes.
So just an amendment to that is, so I've done what I can do.
Yes.
As I reported before, if you want an estimate of how much it will, an estimate that will say, yes, we can do it, and this is how much it will cost, that's £128.
Okay.
If you want a report that says, yes, we can do it, and this is how much it will cost, and my guess is that is to dig up the road, tap into the main, which is just below the, just to the north of the site there, bring it onto the site, bring it up to a meter, well, the meter will probably be in the road, bring it up to a stopcock, that's it. Then the allotments can take over from there, and that would be £250. So it's a question, do we want to go down either of those routes? And this is just to get a cost. I can't get one without spending some money.
Oh, I see. It's £250 for a quote.
For a fixed cost and 128 for an approximate cost. Yeah, we're talking South West Water here.
Just to put it into context, their last quote was something like £2,000 to connect the allotments.
That's right. I think you're right. When you come to the cost, it's going to be substantial because South West Water know at the moment they think you've got nowhere else to go.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, you've got the proposal. Can we move on because it's 8:30 already?
I think my proposal still stands because we know that it will work, and okay, it may cost more than the alternative, which I think is, in my opinion, is a bit of an unknown. So, do I have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second that one.
I suppose you have to take that as
we've lost Colin.
We've lost Colin. The chair.
So we kind of need. Right. So if the vice chair wants to jump in.
He's back.
Right. Here we are. We're back again. Sorry, Steve. Do you want to speak?
Yeah, I seconded Howard's proposal.
Right, you're seconding Howard's proposal, right. So we take that as an amendment to the original. So can we have a vote then?
Which one do you want me to go for, Colin, if I proceed along this one? The 128 or the 250?
What the connection charge?
No, this is to get a quote from Southwest Water.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right. Well,
as chair of finance, the best value for money here is to go for the 200, whatever it was,
250
quotation. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right then, we have Howard's amendment about going for the mains option with Steve's seconding. Have we got everyone in favour of that? Can we have a show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
I'm abstaining, Colin.
And one abstaining. Yeah, 5 and 1 abstaining. And then those who are in favour of Andrew's proposal that I go ahead and approach the owner with a view to furthering the water from the spring. Can we have a show of hands as to who's happy with that?
Well, can I vote on both? I don't see why we can't run these parallel.
Well, good point, actually. You could, because then we would have more information when we make the decision.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
all right.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that, as long as the parallel investigation is not incurring any costs on the council, and those discussions are all made without any obligation or commitment. Then I think they can, both of those actions can proceed
together
in parallel
with no cost. But we've already heard that Crispin has said that it may cost us £200 to get a quote.
That's 250. That's fine. And we voted on that, and 5 people have said yes.
Yes. Okay. Right.
I'd just like to come in and throw another hat into the ring. Graham Pady is still carrying on at the moment, isn't he?
Yes, as far as we know.
Yeah. So, but there will come the day when, It just occurred to me now, and Andrew will soon be able to tell me if I'm right or wrong or what have you. Up at the point-to-point course, Andrew, when it's a lot of sunshine and it's hard up there, you get a tank goes round and waters the course, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that would be, whether that could be done, not water the allotments, but put into a tank. You could drive into the car park there. Whether that's another way, a third way of looking at it.
Okay. Yeah, the thing about that is you do need the license to extract, which is what we do under. So obviously Graham Pady has got a license, and it's his water supply. It's not the river. If we were to do that, we would have to get a license to extract, which are quite difficult to get now because the Environment Agency are not very keen on them.
Right.
Okay. Right. Now, I'm very conscious. This is going on. This discussion. We've got a proposal with 5 votes in favour to go for the mains water. We've got a suggestion that we run these 2 things parallel, provided they're not going to cost us anything. And we continue to look at the spring water in that respect. And that is Andrew's proposal. Can we have people in favour of that proposal? Right. I can vote, no doubt. Yeah, myself. So it's just 3 of us. Is that right? In favour of the spring.
I'm abstaining on both of those.
Okay, you're abstaining. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So does that mean we now knock the spring thing in the head completely?
I don't know how many are against.
Right. How many How many against the spring idea?
I'm abstaining, Colin. Like I said before.
Is what you're asking is, shall we do the spring idea as well?
Well, that's right. In parallel, until we know, the comparative costs. I think this is what Ray was suggesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I'd be happy to vote for that.
If Steve agrees with me, I will amend my proposal that we go ahead and pay £250 to get a quote from South West Water, but that you continue with the alternative option, but without incurring any cost to the parish council.
Okay.
Excellent, Howard.
I agree with that. Second that.
Right, everyone, you've heard what Howard has said. Is there those in favour of that proposal? Right. Here we are.
No.
6, is it, or 7?
No, I got 8. 1, 2, 3,
8.
4, 5, 6.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you. I think that is carried, and then hopefully we can move on. I will do what I can.
Is anyone abstaining?
Is anyone abstaining?
Yeah,
I'm abstaining.
Sorry?
I'm abstaining.
John is abstaining. 1 abstaining, 8 in favour. Right.
Sorry,
Thank you.
to move on, Colin.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I just realised I'm not on the amenities committee.
Oh dear. Will anyone take on Howard's proposal?
Mr. Chairman, I will take it on, but we do need to move on because.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Got 20 minutes left, Colin.
I know. All right. Right. So that is carried then. That proposal. We'll move straight on then to the next item, which is the allotment bank hedge.
Nunsford Lane.
Oh no, sorry, Nunsford Lane, P3 bids. Now we've dealt with this very briefly in the finance. We've had 2 quotes. It's gone into the bids have gone into the public rights of way. Ros Davis has had them by the due date of the 15th of February. She is looking at that with her committee because bids have come in from all over the county. So can I say we put that on hold until our next amenity committee, until we've had feedback from Ros Davis, because this money will be the subject of a grant from the county to do this work. It should not be a cost on this council.
Yep.
All right.
We're happy with that.
Are we happy with this? That we move on then? Defer this, right? No, allotment bank hedge. Very quickly, those of you who've been up there will have seen that Jason Mayer has done a really good job. He's cleared the bank, taken all the overhanging stuff, but 1 or 2 people have made representations, and I did send a note to you all about the fact that it's left the allotments prone to wind blow from the west. And the suggestion has been that we layer bushes along the top crest, and in the gaps we plant hedgerow whips. And I've been to Perry Hale Nursery, and they've got a selection of 4 hedgerow varieties: hawthorn, blackthorn, hazel, and alder, which would cost us £65 for 100 plants. And then there'll be VAT, which we can claim back. And I've approached Jason Goss to see if he could get a volunteer party to plant them. And this is the position we're in. The work is almost done up there. And it's just really to ask the council, would they sanction this extra £65 to buy these hedgerow whips to create this hedgerow boundary on the crest of the hill of the bank? Has anyone got a point? Yes, Steve.
Is it something that should have been discussed beforehand?
Well, it was
and
yeah.
Is it not going to grow very quickly, this hedge?
No. the option was there. It was an option that we had discussed about leaving a boundary, because otherwise it's left clear to the road from the allotments. And one of the things is the security of the allotments. There's no actual boundary. This hedge will create a boundary, but it will also have the effect of stopping wind blow onto those lower allotments. And they will need to be clipped and kept to 5 or 6 feet by hopefully allotment holders, or we'll have to pay a man to do it. But it will take about, I don't know, 8 to 10 years to grow into a sizable hedge. So yeah, it is an extra on top of the cost that we're paying Jason Mayer. He doesn't expect us, I don't think, to pay any more to him for this work of layering these bushes. A very minimal amount, if anything, I think. So can this parish council agree to the purchasing of these whips?
Colin?
Yes.
Is 100 whips going to be enough?
Well, I think so, because already he's laid these bushes, and there are not too many gaps which will need filling up. So I think 100 will be enough, you know, staggered.
Well,
Ray had a point. Ray had a point. Yes.
Yeah, Colin. I've got a piece of paper in here, which is a briefing note at the time that we discussed it, which specifically says hedgerow laying up at the allotments. So
yes.
When we were discussing, you know, this in council, we were specifically discussing and approving the
yes.
laying of the hedgerow, not the cutting of the hedgerow, the laying
right.
of it. And as I understand it, when we asked people to quote for this work, we asked them to quote for laying the hedgerow. Now, is that correct, or am I wrong?
Well, that was part of it, because we had considered at that time layering that top hedge.
Yes.
But the actual quote that came in from all three was for coppicing off all the overhanging bushes that were going out into the road, all the tanglement with the telegraph wires, and the general muddle of bushes that had occurred. So it came in under the title of hedge laying, but it should really have been coppicing. This is what they were. That's what they've quoted for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Colin. That's what you say. You know, can the proper officer just confirm that?
I wasn't here when that quote was done, but from my knowledge, I believe it was coppicing is what's been quoted.
Okay, so we basically we've gone out and we've asked for the wrong thing.
Well, yeah, but
that's okay, Colin. That's fine. I'm fine.
Okay, that's right.
As long
okay.
as all three contractors bid for the same package of work.
They quoted for the same amount. That's right. Yes, they did.
In which case, this is emergent work, and we should see it in that light.
Yeah.
And actually, for the cost of £65, I don't have any difficulty with that in terms of a financial commitment on the council. But actually, I would like to understand, you know, Jason's position re costs.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll get into.
He needs to either agree to formally in writing to do it for the cost he's certainly quoted for, or submit a new cost.
Yeah. Well, I've written to him formally to ask him if there's any modification to his costs, bearing in mind.
Fine.
Bearing in mind that the whips will be planted by volunteers, not him.
Right. Colin, would you copy that to the clerk so we have it properly recorded, the correspondence that you're having with this contractor?
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. But apart from that, is the council happy that we go ahead and buy the 65 whips? Is there a proposal? Not 65, the 100 whips. The 65 pounds. Pardon? You propose, John?
I'll second it.
And yeah, second. Is everyone in favour of that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone in favour? Any abstentions?
I'm not on the committee, so.
No. Okay.
And Ian?
That's carried, I think. I don't know how many. Ian, was that?
I think that was everyone.
Everyone. Right. Yeah, who voted? Right. Thank you. we'll push on then. Handyman interview, and you know that we've had 9 applications, and you will have seen their CVs and application. We've got to do this fairly swiftly. Has nobody seen
I've
this?
not seen any. No.
No, applications.
Well,
applications only went to the chairs of each committee and the vice chair of the PC, as instructed by chair.
Okay.
So you'll be committing the interviews.
Yeah. Should we all have a sight of these? Obviously, the interviews are going to be done by the chairman of each committee and the chairman and vice chairman of the full council. But should you all have the opportunity to see the applications? That's what I hadn't realised that.
Well, if we're confident in our chairman and vice chairman, so I say let them get on with it.
All right. Right. The next
Chair,
thing
can I pass a comment there? And I see what Councillor Hayes says. And
Yes.
again, we are where we are. Can we please make this the last significant job this council ever gives out in this way? What I've mentioned before, and most good councils have, is a subcommittee for HR, for personnel. So that what you don't get is the same group of people doing the interviews the whole time. And what the subcommittee does is it does an initial assessment of the candidates, and that is then presented as information to council, and council can make the decision. But for some reason, year after year after year, we have to be careful of this, because I think this is all, forgive me, I think this is going to be all blokes again, isn't it, making this decision? I'm not sure if Joy even has an involvement.
Well, she's vice chair of finance.
Is she? Well, thank heavens for that. Thank heavens for that. But this isn't the way to be doing this. This isn't a small job. This is our principal employee, and I think in financial terms, it's above the clerk actually in terms of financial. So I don't think this is the way to do it. I've said it before, but I mean we are where we are again. But
right.
Yes, I think the answer is it would be really interesting to see the CVs, please, if that's possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. But
well, as chair of finance, I have
yes.
got no objections to anybody on the council seeing the CVs.
Yes. So shall we make a decision now that we circulate the CVs to everybody? Is everyone happy with that?
Yes,
I would be.
Obviously in confidence at the moment, but to answer Paul's points, the fact is that the chairman and vice chairman of each committee have got quite a lot of responsibility in the council and probably a depth of knowledge of the council, and there's no reason why we should not proceed with this procedure and include a lady as we have done at the moment. But I can see no reason to change it. But again, we must obviously have a debate on this. I think it's too late to change it now. And I would propose that we go ahead. It's been successful. We've successfully appointed an excellent clerk in this way over the years, and there's been no reason to change this. It's been a successful system. Anyway, it's another point for discussion. But can we say that we go ahead with the same system this time for the appointment of a handyman? All right, Ray, yes?
I'm happy with the system. I'm happy with the parish council representation on that system. But I think in this instance, what makes it very different is that we actually got 9 applications.
Well, I know.
And some of those applications have come from extremely qualified and experienced individuals.
Yeah, I know.
And therefore, I think we are in this circumstance, we need to be very careful that we do follow correct HR procedures. And we don't have HR experts on the parish council. And my view is we should be asking EDDC whether we could actually lean into their HR department for a bit of professional support.
Okay.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I do disagree with that, because we've always been always been able to do our own appointments. I do agree we've got some very good applicants, and we've got some which really aren't all that good. What I would propose is the committee meet first, go through them, and with the feed in from other councillors, we whittle down the shortlist to a shortlist, so that we then interview the ones that have the best qualifications for the job. Because at the moment, if we interview all 9, it's a hell of a job to do it, and actually you tend to forget the quality of the people.
That makes sense, Andrew. That makes sense.
I would agree with Andrew. Yeah.
Okay.
Crispin.
In which case, then, for those people who agree with it, who is going to write the SIFT criteria?
Well,
who's going to sit down and write down?
Sorry, Ray, but we don't do that. I mean, that's done in civil service. This is as parish council. We've got a lot of us got a lot of experience of appointing people. We really do need to sit down as a group, look at those applications, and agree the shortlist. I don't think it's beyond us to come up with the best shortlist of the best people.
Yeah, we're ordinary people dealing with an ordinary situation, and I think, you know, one's got to have confidence in us, in a lot of us having the experience of doing this work, and I would like to suggest, for this instance at least, we go ahead with the previous system, and if we want to change it, then we have a proper debate about this.
So, Mr. Chairman, the previous system is the chair of the 3 committees and the chair and vice chair of the council. There's 5 males.
That's correct. No, one female.
No, because Joy is not a chairman, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles at the moment. We haven't got many ladies on our and unless you import lots of ladies, that's inevitably what's going to happen.
Right. I thought, actually, Mr. Chairman, I thought we'd agreed to go ahead with the old system this time.
Yes.
We just need to agree a
date.
meeting. Please, can we move this on?
We need to anyone to second Andrew's proposal.
Yes, I do. I will second that.
All right. There's any amendments to that? Okay.
I would like Joy to be on it, because I think Joy is, in her previous life, an employer.
All right.
Would that be true, Joy?
Right.
But is she not? Is she not vice chairman of the finance?
But vice
chairs
aren't included.
Only the vice chairman of the council.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can simplify this very easily by saying that I will not be available for the interviews. So,
Okay.
Joyce, would you please stand in for the chair of finance?
Okay. Joy,
Good.
how do you feel about that?
Fine, Joyce.
Would you accept? Right. Okay. Well, okay. We've now reached the point where we've had a proposal that we go ahead with the old system, which includes Joy being the de facto chairman of the finance. Can we have those in favour, please?
The proposal from Andrew is not that. Proposal from Andrew is to look at the applications and agree a short list of applications in a committee. Is that correct, Andrew?
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Right. Sorry. Right. Initially, we look at the list of applicants as a committee and decide on a short list. Are those
I'll
those
second
of
that.
you in favour of that proposal?
Yeah, he's.
Right. Any abstentions?
Me, because I'm not on the amenities committee.
Everyone happy?
Yes.
Well, yes,
Have
Chair,
anyone,
but
anyone abstaining?
If we get on with it, yeah.
I've only got 7-4.
Chair, so happily to have voted for it on this occasion, but I will try and bring something forward with the permission of the chair and with the help of the clerk at a future meeting, so we do this another way in future. I also think this, I'm not being difficult, I just think this is helpful. I think this should have been on the finance committee, not amenities, to be honest, because this is an employment thing. So, but anyway, we can get this right next time, you know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Can we fix the date, Mr. Chairman? Because we really need to look at this list.
We want a date, this gentleman or this person has got to be appointed before John leaves, obviously, on the 8th of April. So it's got to be in early March.
Yes.
What about Tuesday, the 2nd of March?
Yeah, what sort of time? Because this would be just going through the shortlist, won't it?
Yeah, 7 o'clock again.
That's all right with me.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody, 7 o'clock, the 2nd of March. It's the day after our national, the neighbourhood plan meeting.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okay. 2nd of March.
You want me to set up a Zoom meeting? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
No problem.
Right. Okay. 2nd of March. Right. S106 update. I realise time is rushing by. What we need to do is push this along to get more people involved in this process. And can we put it on the agenda for our main meeting in March? Because I think it's useless trying to go through it tonight. We are up against time. Is everyone happy? We put it on the agenda for the amenities section of our main meeting.
22nd of March. In committees next 22nd of March.
Okay.
It'll be the 8th though, wasn't it? Because there's not an amenities meeting on the 22nd.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think we ought to have an amenities meeting because we've proved it tonight. The first 2 sessions were over in an hour. This is over an hour now, and we've not even finished.
Yeah, I would second that, Steve. I think there needs to be a separate section each time we have a committee meeting for
it is already on the agenda for the 8th of March to discuss.
Good.
For the time being, we haven't got an amenities meeting on 22nd.
Right, thank you for that. Okay, then items brought to the attention of the chair after the agenda was published. I've got nothing.
I've just
apart
got
from 1 point.
Just
the library. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, we've seen my photographs of the footbridge. DCC have been informed. The skate park, I've been out, or I and Ian have been out to 2 people, but we're waiting to hear. Is that right, Ian? I've heard nothing from them as yet. I'll give them a chase. I'll give them a chase and see what they say.
In total, 4 people have been approached, and so far, as far as I'm aware, only 1 person kind of wants to have a look at what we want, and Crispin's going to have a look. I don't think anyone's particularly interested in the job. I'm assuming because it's too small. But I've approached even someone who's based in Collerton, and no one's responding.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll think on that. I'll think on that, Ian.
Is that everything, Crispin?
Yes, thank you.
Apart from your library point, but anyway, okay, right. I realise there's half a minute left. Can I just say full CPC meeting Monday, 8th of March, finance and planning 22nd of March. If there's no other business, I will declare the meeting closed.
Thank you, Colin.
John has been trying to get into Colin for the last 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry, John. I didn't see you there. Sorry.
Well, we've got a transport meeting on the 4th of March, I believe. If council got any problems, would they get in touch with either me or Ed?
John, could you just